Hello and welcome to this week's Spotlight. My name is Derek and today we are going over some Beretta 92s. Specifically, we are going over the 92FS, the 92FSR 22, the 92X GR, and the 92X Performance. Now, because there are more variants of each of these than there are trucks at gun shows, I'm only going to be going over the major differences. First, we have the 92FS. It's one of the most tested and mass-produced pistols ever made. And some things I want to point out right now: look at the grip angle, the trigger guard, the sights, the barrel. All of these are going to differ between these guns, so pay special attention to those points. If we look at the newer 92X, we can see some big differences right away, such as the grip, which is different by means of it being a little bit skinnier. The grip angle is a little bit different, a little bit straighter, and the heel is a little bit different as well if we compare it directly to the 92FS. Now, Beretta calls this the Vertec grip. So if you do like the features that we'll go over on the 92X, but you like the grip feel of the 92FS, they actually include a grip addition to the 92X that is going to give you a very similar shape to the 92FS. Now to the trigger guard on the 92X, it is rounded off right here, whereas we compare it to the 92FS, it's a bit squared off is the word that they use here, but you can see that shape pretty clearly. At the front of the slide on the 92FS, we do see that it does come up 3/8 of an inch short, whereas on the 92X, the slide comes up almost right up to the muzzle end. Some differences on the barrels themselves. On the 92, it just has a pretty simple crown like that, but on the 92X, you get a recessed target crown. One other thing, on the 92X, you do also get a chrome-lined barrel. Now, one thing that they did with the 92X that makes a ton of sense is that the front sight is actually dovetailed in to the slide. If we compare that to the 92FS, you'll see that it's actually integral to the slide itself, which means that if you want to change it, you can't. So if it breaks or you just don't like it and you want to upgrade it, you really don't have any options with that. So that broadly sums it up between the 92FS and the 92X. So now let's compare the 92X to the 92X Performance. Now, starting with the frame, they both have the Vertec grip here, and they both have Picatinny rails up here for lights and other accessories. But the key difference between the frame on the 92X and the 92X Performance is that this frame is stainless steel versus the aluminum on the 92X. So that means it's not only a bit stronger, it is a bit heavier as well, which for a pistol like this actually makes some sense. There's a bit more stippling on the back of the 92X Performance. There's a longer beaver tail to help with recoil management, and if we drop the mags on these, we will see a larger and enhanced mag well. Now, unlike the 92X and the 92FS, the safety on this is mounted on the frame, and it is just a safety. It does not have a decocker function, something that the 92FS and 92X can have. The trigger is, of course, an upgrade on the Performance, and it is their Extreme S trigger. So you have a weight of 6 pounds or thereabouts in double action, 3 pounds thereabout in single action, and it has a 40% shorter reset and a slightly less curved trigger shoe itself. Before we get to the slide, I want to mention the skeletonized hammer here and the match takedown lever here. This nice paddle is a really good spot to index your thumb on, not only just for getting the proper grip on the pistol itself, but also to help manage recoil, because you can put a little bit of downforce with your thumb to help with muzzle rise. Moving up the slide, we notice the extra size of the thing. That has their Brigadier slide, so it has a bit more beef to it, which will help. The extra weight will help for felt recoil and follow-up shots. It also helps extend the life of the pistol and make it stronger. It has more aggressive slide serrations on the back, and unlike the other two pistols that I mentioned, it has some on the front as well, which I like a lot because there's really not a whole bunch of real estate back here to get your hand on it, especially if you have big hands or if you're wearing gloves. It does make it a bit easier to cycle the slide with the serrations up front as well. As far as sights go, it does have a removable red fiber optic front and a fully adjustable rear set as well. So that'll sum it up for the three main pistols here, but I do want to mention the 92 FSR, the 22. And it's something that I wish more companies would do. Make a 22 version of their full-size pistol. Makes training cheaper, easier, and quieter. It has the same feature set that you'll find on the 92 or very close to it. If we compare them directly side by side, they're more or less the same. So you're not going to really lose any muscle memory by going from one to the other, which is the point of a pistol like this. Now, since 22 doesn't really have the same sort of power of a 9mm, they have had to change the materials that this is made out of, and that makes total sense. You can use more polymers, you can use more aluminum. Having a stainless steel slide on a 22 just won't work because the 22 is not strong enough to cycle something that heavy. But it does make the cost of the pistol go down, which does help for training. Now, this version of the 92 FSR is also threaded, as you can see here. Now, a 22 rifle is still fairly quiet, even unsuppressed, but a 22 pistol is still pretty loud. So they put a threaded barrel on this version to run a suppressor. Thing is, anyone who's seen a 22 suppressor knows that they're not huge. I've got my Silencer Co. Spectre here, and it's 1 inch across or thereabouts. So if you put it up to the pistol, you look at those really tall sights and you think, why? It makes sense if you consider this. If you are shooting a pistol like this, it is most likely for you, as it is for everyone else, a training tool. Now, if your 9mm version of this pistol runs a suppressor, you'd be wise to run a suppressor that's the same weight, the same size and all that, just for that muscle memory. And the good thing is, since a lot of 9mm suppressors can be taken apart and cleaned, they can be used on 22s. Now granted, shooting a 22 through a 9mm suppressor is a bit hot dog in a hallway, but the extra volume of the can does make up well enough for its lack of efficiency, and it's still quiet enough. Now, if you know that you'll be shooting either a dedicated 22 suppressor like the Spectre or something similarly sized to it, or if you won't be shooting suppressed at all, you can take these sights off. It does come with some normal size sights which will work for no suppressor or a dedicated 22 suppressor because they're small enough to be seen over with these. So if you're from Boston and your last name is McManus, you'd be very well to practice with one of these. So that's it for this video. I know there was some bits that I did have to leave out to keep this as short as possible, so if there's something that you think is worth mentioning, please put it in the comment section so that others can see it, because there's a ton of different versions of these and that would really help us out. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram, and we'll see you next week.